We work hard, we play hard. We are gamerpreneurs. Individuals who have chosen to give up the security of a 9 to 5 in favor of getting to set our own hours, of doing the work that we want to do, and we refuse to give up the hobby that we grew up with in order to, quote, grow up. We have learned countless laws of life and sales from the games that we play, and we excel in everything we do. We see the wonder and glory in every interaction. We fit in awkwardly with the rest of the world because they don't understand our quirkiness, and we wear it as a badge of pride. We are focused, clear, and know what we want. We are gamerpreneurs, and we are taking over the world. Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to the Gamerpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Bradford Carlton. Today, I have a very special guest for you. I have Anthony Butler. Hi there, Anthony.
How's it going?
Fantastic. Now, Anthony, what's your handle? What do we call you?
I'm known as Gam3k3y. Most people on Twitch know me that way.
Gam3k3y. All right. All right. Now, so Gam3k3y, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a variety broadcaster on Twitch. I feel like variety is the spice of life. And if you can't change up your games, then, maybe sitting in one just isn't for you.
Okay. So what kinds of stuff do you play then?
I'm a big fan of shooters. Game mom.
That's all right.
And
we have
I'm
an extra guest on the video.
Big fan of shooters. I like RPGs personally. I actually have a good throwback that's still sitting around here.
What do you got? What is it?
We got Ness.
Oh, you have Ness.
Earthbound.
Earthbound.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever get to play Mother 1?
I did not, sadly, unless, you go through the other channels or through, what is it? I think they have it on the DS. I'm not sure.
I think
I played an emulator like a long time ago.
Maybe Mother 3 was the one they brought out on the DS.
3 they brought out, yeah.
Yeah.
That was neat with Luke and the other kid. I didn't get to play through those yet.
Okay. I loved Earthbound. It's just so whimsical, right? Like it's
definitely
cutesy, but it was tough, honestly.
Yeah, and with the Super Nintendo version, you bring out like the good versus evil, and it's that whole like good triumphs over bad.
Not to mention you get to fight hippies, which I'll do all day long.
Oh yeah, why not?
So I start every podcast with a question. We kind of went a little bit far off, but I want to ask you the same question I ask everybody, all right?
Okay.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being high, how weird are you?
I'd say I'm probably right in the middle. I feel like I'm the average Joe when everyone meets me, and then every now and then something weird will just happen and everyone kind of runs with it, or everyone makes something weird happen and I have to run with it.
All right. Now, do you like hang with other gamers, or are you like a closet gamer and you don't let anybody know?
I like hanging out with other gamers. It's one of the places I get to meet most of my friends.
Wonderful. All right. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your stream?
For the stream, I like to engage with the chat just like anybody else. So if it's not engaging chat-wise through conversation, we're getting into the game and seeing what it's all about. Myself, I like to go through games with a first-time take. So if it's something I've never played or you guys have seen it come out, usually I'm going in blind. I don't look at previews. I won't look at cheat sheets or anything, and I'll just go head first, and then I have to figure it out.
All right. So either you're a really good gamer or a really bad gamer.
It's really bad.
How did you even get started? Like, how long ago was it? What led you to do this?
About 5 years ago. Wow. Yeah, it's been 5 years. I started playing around with going to college, and I had my mom's old computer and it died. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to be going to college. I can build me a computer. Won't be a big deal. I'm going to make this last for a few years. So I did. And I threw a computer together, and it was a good learning lesson for me. But then I started watching Twitch. Some friends were like, hey, these guys are on Twitch making money playing video games. doing this like every day. I was like, what's Twitch? 6 months later, after watching and seeing everything, I was like, I feel like I could do this. And then about 3 months of learning programs and how to set up everything, I got really good at it. And what could take me, 2 days turned into 45 minutes of work of just setting up a stream from scratch, and in OBS. And then I was like, hey, let's just do this. And the worst thing that can happen is no one shows. The best thing that can happen is I click the start stream button and someone shows up. Let's have fun with it.
Sure. So it wasn't really like something that you felt you were meant to do. You kind of stumbled upon this then.
Yeah, is kind of how it happened.
All right. So at what point, so you started and you were like not so sure, but at what point did it become obvious to you that you like were meant to be a streamer?
I wouldn't say meant to be, but it's more fun to be. The simple fact that I'm not playing games by myself anymore. You never know who's really watching. It's just like being at an arcade. You're sitting there playing up at the arcade machine. You don't know who's behind you watching you go for that high score. You don't know the guy to your right or your left until the match is over. And from there, either you make some friendships, lose some friendships, just good camaraderie all around, mostly.
Absolutely. Now you better be careful. You're going to show your age because a lot of the kids nowadays don't know what an arcade is.
I know, right?
The funny thing is, arcades have all moved into bars now, from what I've seen. For our generation, for the people who grew up in the arcades, and we're able to go back to the arcade and drink now.
Right. Now it's, what do we got here? So there's Chuck E. Cheese for any kid. Okay. Great. Then the adult version of Chuck E. Cheese, Dave and Buster's. All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Same games, just beer.
That's right. So I'm here in Las Vegas, and they actually have like barcades. So it's a real bar, and they just, as kind of an afterthought, threw all these arcade systems and like DDR and all this other stuff into it. It's these awesome facilities that you feel like a kid again. So
that sounds awesome.
So what unique skills do you say you have that you bring to your stream that maybe somebody else doesn't have?
Unique, probably my side of quirkiness, especially when it comes with figuring games out. Jump scares are not my friend at all. So horror games is everyone's entertainment. Other than that is coming across the idea of, since I like blind playthroughs, games such as Dark Souls come to mind. I'm kind of terrified because I'm going to sit down and people are going to be basically laughing for the next probably 4 or 5 hours while I'm trying to figure out one thing the entire time.
How do I beat this skeleton?
Yeah, or where do I go from here?
So I want to know, what's your favorite horror game?
Favorite horror game. Well, I remember when Layers of Fear came out. That was actually really good. Okay. Layers of Fear, if you guys don't know, it's a psychological thriller. So when you step into a room, the room can be different. Things can happen. It can be suspenseful, or a slew of little events can happen in that room. But when you find your way out, you move into a next set of rooms, and it keeps going on from there. So essentially, it's just all psychological thriller the whole way through.
I have not tried that one. I'll have to check it out. I'm a big chicken when it comes to the horror games.
Brought out too.
I played Dead Space, and I got to like that first, like the first monster that jump scares you right before the save point. I'm like, I'm done.
That's great.
So I want to know, what kind of resources are you using for your stream? What kind of rig are you running? What kind of equipment are you using? Headphones, the whole nine. So in case somebody's looking to start, they know what to use.
Seems like microphones anyone can use nowadays. Same with a decent headset. So unless you're big on audio, I'm just running the Logitech G433s. And then I've got a Blue Yeti mic, which oddly now enough seems to be like the standard. Everyone's got one. So like the Blue Yeti Snowball, Blue Yeti mic, or if you've got a mixer, I don't have one yet. Mixers are extremely versatile, especially for a 2-PC setup. Myself though, I'm running a full, almost a fully VGA build. for my system. It took the better part of a year to build, but we put it together. So we're looking at, unfortunately, mine's dated. Two 1070 GTX cards in SLI, which now you're probably just better off saving up and going and getting the 2080 Ti. Just having one is going to bring out your gameplay so much better.
Not to mention, I have two 1080i myself, SLI bridged. And for some reason, it destroyed graphics on half the programs I run on my computer. I cannot run Discord on my gaming rig because it just is a jumbled graphical mess and I have no idea how to fix it.
Oh, no.
So one video card will probably do you.
Yep. Yeah, because most games today don't run in SLI. And if you're trying to get any input, you're only getting really about a 10% advantage from the second card.
All right. So how long have you been doing this then? You said about 5 years, so about 4.5 years?
5 years as of December 18th.
Wonderful. Okay. Now, if you could go back and you could talk to little Gam3k3y, 4.5 years ago or so, 5 years ago, and you could give some advice on, how to move things along quicker, what would you say?
Look at the opportunities that are available to yourself and try and make opportunities happen ahead of time. So say there's that new game that you've been talking about for 8 months that you're going to get. Start doing some reach out emails, maybe 6 months to a year in advance with the game studio or the developers. Maybe, reach out to some friends who are in charity organizations who are also in the same lines as yourself. And if you're looking to collaborate together, maybe you can collab for the same cause in a game or for a big spectacle, because it's more fun to do a collab and have things go horribly wrong for the fun things than to try and make everything too perfect, because as they say, even the best laid plans can fail.
Absolutely. Now, are these like things that you've actually done and tried? You've reached out to game studios? Like, tell us about that. How's that go?
Okay, so we're looking at, I can't believe it. I have to pull up Steam because I can't think of the name of the game right now. I know what it is.
So what you did was you reached out months in advance to the studio that you knew was coming out with a game. You told them what, you were a streamer?
Yeah, usually. Okay, so you can usually do this anyway. Streamer seems to be like the go-to title. Everyone's kind of okay with it. There's no wrong, there's no bad. But if you're like, hey, I'm a YouTuber, you have to have that presence of like 100,000 plus subscribers. Or if you're an influencer, for Instagram, you have to have like 30 to 50,000 followers for some kind of feedback. But on Twitch, all you need is a partnership or 10,000 or to be stable enough. And usually your what you do within the Twitch community kind of is your credibility. In my case, I like to review a lot of games, so I'll go out on a Friday and I'll use other websites like Evolve Terminals, Keymailer, or my partner sponsorship that I'm with is Indie Boost. And basically I'll sit down and I'll browse what's available on the list and say, hey, I want to check this out. Here's some feedback. This is what I want to do. I want to showcase it on Twitch. Would love to review it and see what it's all about without any excess. Like I don't want paid or, I just want a review copy. And usually they'll give you a full release of the game, or you'll miss like some cut scenes or intro, usually about it. And from there on Friday, I'd just go through it live on a stream and have fun with it.
That's pretty cool. So like,
it's nice.
How many times have you done this? Is this like a one-time deal, or have you done this multiple times?
I've done this multiple times to the point that I have anything I do review, I'll pull up and completely highlight the entire segment on Twitch. So it's permanently as a highlight, whether it's a 2-hour segment, 4-hour segment, 8-hour segment. I'll highlight the whole thing permanently. So that way it's a highlight, and uh, it never goes away after like a 14-day period. So it's just a highlight of the stream that you can always go back and view. But I'll also take that stream and upload it to YouTube and leave it as my personal review, because again, blind playthrough, don't know what I'm doing, and having fun with it. So again, that's another action for me to show you guys that it is in its entirety still there. So whatever happens on Twitch, it'll always be backed up on YouTube.
Oh, that's wonderful. How did you come up with the idea of doing that, to decide to reach out to people?
Um, One of my good friends who I met through gaming, basically, we're both veterans, and he was
Thank you
like,
for your
"Hey,
service.
well, thank you." He was like, "Hey, I've been doing stuff in the gaming industry for a long time. Send out a cold email to these folks." And he just gave me an email to reach out. I was like, okay. And, one email doesn't work for one game. Try out a couple more he gives me. Next thing you know, I get a response back, and then I get a free copy of a game to check out and review, and then we're just having fun with it. And then I go and hang out with him for like was it PAX South 2017? I think that's when I got to hang out with him.
Oh, that is rather cool. So let's kind of change gears for a second, kind of get back onto some more advice. Say someone like me who has never had a stream at all. I don't think I have the equipment. I don't know what it takes to do a stream. What advice would you have for someone who's thinking about doing but hasn't taken a single step yet?
What do you want to do? And just have fun with it. You're going to sit down and play a game anyway. All we got to do is get the display set. And if you have a microphone, then that's all you need. So that way you can interact with the people in a chat and just start.
Okay. So a little change of the Nike logo, just start.
Right?
I like that. I might steal that.
I mean, this every streamer started, no matter how big or famous they are, whether you're Ninja, Tim the Tap Man, Dr. Lupo, like these big names making big moves and changing the entire way the system works now. They all started like me, you, the kid in their mom's basement, like, this looks cool, I want to do that. They all started the same way. So they just started.
All right. So are you making any money off of your stream or your YouTube or anything like that?
The first couple years, yes, everything was good. It was normal to be able to like receive donations, bits. Like when bits came out, that was a big thing for everyone. But donations were normal, and I had sponsorships at the time, through like energy drink, and then a couple of studios that I was working with and reviewing their games, and then just going through and plugging them every now and then. Well, we had one guy on YouTube kind of screw it up for everyone, and all the sponsors pulled out and said, here are referral links. So as the saying goes, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
That's right.
You can show people your referral links, but you can't make them buy anything. So now what I've done is, yes, I have some merch on Designed by Humans. I consider it arcade cabinet clothing. So we have like a big arcade machine, and it's got my logo on it with the arcade. Other than that, that's been okay. But I use Indie Boost, my partners. So when I go to review games, I'll put in a bid. So for 2 hours of work, anywhere from 10 to $50, and it's all on the developers or the team to decide yes or no on the project, or counter bid. And like I have one up for to do within the next week, that I put in a bid for $20 for 2 hours of work. They counter bid for $10 for 2 hours of work. I said, okay. So
All
it's
right.
not bad.
You get paid to play video games. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, it's
can't
something
get
I
much
do on
worse
the
than
side,
that.
right?
All right, so let's talk about you, okay? Game Key. I want to
Okay.
know, how did you first start playing video games? Like, when did that happen? Like, go way back.
Well, if we go way, way back before a beard and a childlike mind continued to grow, we go back to when my older brother would hang out with his friends. You know, he's 15, 16. He's 11 years older than me. And I remember going back and we were playing Super Mario 3 and Batman on the 8-bit NES.
Oh, Batman was
And
horrid, wasn't it?
it was, well, that was it. Batman wasn't so bad. It's when they came out with like the renditions on the Super and the Sega. Those ones were boring.
Okay. I mean, I just remember that Batman game being so hard. And I love Batman. That game was
Oh
hard,
yeah.
though.
Oh yeah. And I liked Super Mario, so we were playing Super Mario 3 a lot. And that's where my brother got me kind of started playing video games. As long as I can remember, I've always hung out with my older brother and played video games with him and his friends.
Okay, and it just continued as a passion?
Yeah, well, it's just something I liked doing because it was how I could hang out with my older brother and not be the annoying little brother. And I was kind of good at some of the games too, which kind of helped out.
As most young siblings aren't, right?
Right? Not all the time. I've had a lot of experience getting my butt whooped in Tecmo Bowl. So,
So, are there any games coming out that you're looking forward to?
I'm very much looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's been a long time coming, and it originally started out like, oh, cool, it's a birthday gift, and then they pushed the date back, so now it's like a month after my birthday. But I don't care. It looks amazing. Even if they change up the story, it's been ported so many times that I think we're all just kind of waiting for a new one.
Sure. And
And
if you
a
really
retelling.
like the old one enough, you can mod it and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, right. I mean, I have it on my PlayStation, my PS2, or not my PS2, my PS3. Then I have another copy for my PS4, wherever it is. And then I have the PC version. Then I have, obviously, on my phone, which is great because now I have it always on the go. Who doesn't like?
Really like Final Fantasy VII, huh?
Oh, I like 7. 7 was great for the Final Fantasy games.
So, kind of a related question. What is your favorite game of all time? Of all the games you've played, what's the number one?
Earthbound.
Earthbound.
Hands down, Earthbound. Yeah, I have a cartridge and I have the Nintendo Power booklet with me, but I don't have them out here in the open on my desk, so they're put away right now.
I
But
hope they're behind glass because it's worth several $100s.
getting even bad versions, I don't have pristine copies of the games, the game and book. The book, if you get the book with the scratch and sniff stickers, it's hundreds of dollars. It's almost virtually priceless. And the game, as long as the cartridge isn't scratched, if it's unopened, it's in the thousands of dollars. But I got mine both separately, and I spent under $200 for the pair. Together, in the worst condition, they're still over $385.
Isn't that crazy to think about these things that we've been playing for years? Like, oh shoot, we shouldn't have banged it up as much as we did.
When I was in middle school, I remember going to GameStop and I was like, oh, one of my favorite games. It's like $25. Now, oh, GameStop, one of my favorite games. It's like $400. Like, totally big difference there.
And they'll have to pry it out of your cold dead hands, sure, right?
Yep.
Like, Super Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, you cannot get those out of my hands. I have those. They're almost pristine. They're beautiful.
Oh,
like,
nice.
never getting those from me because I know, one, what they're worth, and two, they're classics. They're fantastic, and they will never die. As long as the system still runs, the games will continue forever.
Oh, yeah. And the only thing you got to do is open them up and replace the battery from time to time. That's it.
That's right.
That's it.
So if it's all right, I'd like to humble you for a second.
Sure.
Okay. So we've talked about your stream. We talked about, the ways you've gone and found ways to monetize it and get stuff to you. But I want to know, what's something that you failed at in life?
Failed at. I failed a lot I would say also as a streamer. I wanted to make it big. Give
Sure.
me a moment.
Sure thing. I think a lot of people say that, but the reason I'm
Um,
asking is because I don't want my viewers to see every person and just kind of see the numbers and hear the things they've done.
well,
I want to make them real humans because everybody's had some issues in life.
here's a weird way to look at it. I came into streaming personally without knowing what I had. I started out playing Dragon Age Inquisition. It was brand new. It was the hot game. I won it off of one of my favorite streamers at the time. Still is a favorite streamer of mine, but he's just way too big now. Um, but I won it and I played it, and the developers hung out for a little bit and watched me play through the game. I really enjoyed it. But when I finished it, I also won another game called World of Warships, and you had to be invited or win a code to get in. I didn't know how good I had it. I was speaking with the developers and the community managers weekly. I was sitting in front of an audience of 250 people every night and just giving away 15 keys to the game like every 3 days. And if I would have known that it was easier then to do what I wanted than it is now, I'd have probably told myself, hey, run away with this and actually, use this to your advantage. But at the same time, I didn't know what was happening with my pre-built computer at the time. And we crashed in front of an audience three
Oh,
separate times that day of 300 plus people. And I went from what I felt like having it all to losing it all. And I spent the next 8 months sending my computer back to the computer company and getting it back with problems and streaming to 0 people myself for 8 months before they finally figured out what was wrong.
oh, geez. Oh, what
Yep.
a pain. And there's nothing that they're going to do about that,
But
or the lost
but
audience.
it's a big lesson. It's a big lesson because when I look back at it, I saw myself becoming something that I wasn't happy with. Like, there's moments where you can be on all the time. And for the camera, that's one thing. But when you're on all the time and when the camera's off and you're still on and you're having a hard time turning it off, that's where you have to make that transition outside the stream. You have to be humble about things. You have to come back to your normal life. And you can't bring that personality with you everywhere.
That is some
So,
wonderful advice. Thank you. Alternatively, you can just be that new person and burn all bridges, right?
oh yeah, that
That's another
I
option.
mean, we'll be like Scott Pilgrim and I'm going to go to the store and get me a new life.
Right. Okay. So back to your stream for a second, if we can. What
Okay.
is something that you would say people misunderstand about you when they first pop in for the first time seeing you? So someone who just like browsing Twitch and like, oh, who's this guy? And they click, and what's something they think you don't think they quite get about what they're seeing?
Uh Most cases, why is chat dead? Um or why am I not engaging? Like I said before, usually most people don't realize I'm either uh, focused in on a game with a regular community, or I'm playing something new for the first time without any conversation about it. I don't know anything. I don't want to be told much of anything unless I ask for help. And it's one of those like adventures where we don't know what's going to happen, and I'm probably making a fool of myself for 4 hours, but everyone's getting a good laugh out of it in the end.
Wonderful. All right. So do you have a good chat or a bad chat?
Chat's normally good when it's active. Chat's usually pretty good. As far as bad chat, it's extremely rare anymore for myself. I can't say the same for many others. The more popular are, the more demanding things become, and the more people or trolls show up. So
Sure.
I'm lucky in those graces.
All right. So what do you think the best compliment you've ever gotten from your chat is?
The best or worst?
The best.
Um,
What's the nicest thing they've said to you?
I don't get a lot of that. No, no,
Well, you sure you have a good chat?
no. I remember one of my friends, or what I should say, one of my moderators at the time before he started streaming, wanted to get me drunk because I was doing shots. And oddly enough, I had a great time. We had some of our friends from Eastern Europe on, and I think we were playing H1Z1 King of the Kill at the time, and we were just having a blast with it. And they basically were kind enough to let us know in chat that we would have made Eastern Europe proud that day. One, too many shots. Two, I wasn't drunk. But that's the 18 plus rating. That's the mature stream there.
Sure. I couldn't hang with you then. I'm a teetotaler. I actually haven't had a drink in 10 years because I drank so much in law school. I had to stop. So
I don't drink a lot as is anymore. Like, to be fair, I like drinking casually. And for those of you who are old enough, if you're not, stick to some root beer, some soda, non-alcoholic beverages. But like, I've had like a bottle of spiced rum like sitting just off to the side for probably the better part of a year now, and it's only on the weekends. As I don't know, maybe it's just the parent in me, because I have little ones, and it's like, can I afford to do this today? Do I
that's
have
tough to do
tomorrow
anything in
off?
front of the kids, isn't it? Because they're watching and they're studying and learning you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the kids, my daughter's already learned the hard way, because she basically came over to my bottle and opened it and sniffed it and was, ew, gross. I was like, okay, you learned. The other part is, I basically make sure, like, hey, this is dad's drink, this is mom's drink, this is your drink. It's, you got to be, sometimes even during the stream, you have to slow it down and be the parent sometimes.
Absolutely. And depending on where you are and if it's allowed, you give them a little bit of liquor and they never want it again.
Oh.
So, all right. You told me what your best compliment you've received is. Can you tell me, like, what do you think the worst trolling you've ever received is?
Ooh, worst trolling is usually been that I'm horrible at the game. Um, if we go back to days of COD, it's kind of along those lines. Every 8-year-old kid and my mother, but we're talking about like Modern Warfare. Was it Call of Duty Black Ops 4? So essentially, it's along the same lines. Every kid and
a lot of kids having their way with your mother.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know she got around so much.
I know. I didn't know I had so many possible dads out there.
So it sounds like you've been fairly involved in the streaming community. What is that like? Are you considered a small streamer? Do you consider yourself a small streamer, or like, do you have lots of friends? How does that go?
I have a lot of friends. I would say I have a lot of friends, acquaintances, and contacts in the streaming community. But as far as a streamer for myself, I would say yes. I'm under the umbrella of small time. Anything under 10K or less that's not, I would say, Twitch partner worthy is small time. And then if you're 500 viewers is amazing, to be fair. But even those guys, if they're not pushing, they would be considered small. And then you kind of ramp up from there. Who's gonna make your bang for the buck for working with, talent wise. So I mean, it goes to show, and I've done a lot of research, so I'll gladly spill any beans and share any information I have with anyone. So that's kind of the plus size there.
Okay. So you said you've been involved with some of the people who started small and they're bigger now. Is it, do you find that, as people grow, they kind of let go of the people that brought them there? Or do you find that people generally are still like that good person? They're going to reach their hand out and help pull people up?
It's a 50-50. I've seen it go both ways. it's kind of weird too to see it from like someone on the outside who's not affected by these things. Like originally one of my friends, good guy, got big on Warframe, blew up, got partnered, and I took a different route. I started in Trove and started to grow that way, and then it died off. And I had to look at it like, well, personally, I can't be jealous of my friends. Uh, uh, I can't be jealous of my friend's success. I have to be happy for them. They did take a different route. It did work out. Be happy, because it could be much worse in the long run. You know, your friends could be depending on you for something. So why not be happy at least? As far as someone on the outside looking in, I've seen relationships, like working relationships, go kaput. I've seen developers and studios completely burn ties with groups of people over one person just going crazy on their success and how they don't need others. And it's been weird, because you see it play out on social media in real time, and there's nothing you can do to stop it or say shut up, do it behind closed doors. You just have to let it all burn and watch it in real time.
I'm sure that's absolutely hilarious to watch from the outside.
Yeah, from an entertainment standpoint, yes. But knowing both people on both sides of the fence, you just like, man, that sucks. And I've been on both sides. So some of it's been entertainment value, and then the other half I've seen has been kind of more like, oh my God, that happened, and I'm making phone calls later.
All right, wonderful. This has been a fantastic interview. I really have to thank you, Gam3k3y. I'm probably going to pick your brain a little bit later, just
No problem.
additional questions, because you really do seem like just a trove of knowledge. And I really would love for people to reach out to you. So how do they find you? Like, what social media are you on? What's your handle?
My handle is Gam3k3y, Gam3k3y. You can find me anywhere. I'm on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. We do have a Facebook group. You can find me on Steam. We have a Discord for our Twitch community. So, you can usually find me on Twitter and Facebook. I'm never like logged off, and having my phone kind of makes it a permanent presence in my life. But always understand, if I don't get to you right away, just hang out for a while. I'll get to you.
Right. Now, I think I gave you some advice before we ever did this, before I ever asked you onto the podcast.
Yeah.
Have you been upping your game on social media?
I've been trying to recently. It's just I've also been dealing with the weather change, throwing my voice off. It's kind of made it really hard to come back to streaming right now, just because I don't want to sound like this all the time.
Sure.
I'd like to be able to, speak to you guys and have a conversation instead of, where's my pen and paper?
Right. You're writing to your chat on a note. All right, but this has been wonderful. Do you think there's anything else that we didn't cover you think we should before we wrap it up?
Again, for anyone looking to get started, all you got to do is let Google be your best friend. If you don't know something, look it up. You're going to find 10 more new ideas on your way to that search for that one idea you've been trying to create. It's going to be your best outlet. And then on top of that, if you see people being successful or doing amazing things, glean, learn from it. Find a way to use that idea and use it as your own. Make it your own idea. So that way, if you're going to engage, whether it's YouTube, Mixer, Twitch, whatever your platform, you're going to have fun with it, with your community as you grow.
Absolutely fantastic advice. Thank you so much, Anthony. Gam3k3y, everybody, you need to follow this guy. He knows what he's talking about. So, thank you again. And on this note, I'll say thank you and take it easy.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Hey, if you like this podcast, I'd love to invite you to check out a little bit more about me, Dr. Bradford Carlton, gamerpreneur. If you go to my website, www.thegamerpreneur.com/bonus, I'm going to give you a free copy of my book, The Warcraft of Business, where I explain my history in both gaming and business and how I brought the two together in order to create some very successful companies and help a lot of people. And all you got to do is pay for shipping and processing, and I'll send you this book. I absolutely know you're going to love it. All right, you all take it easy.